Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. So, there is a bunch of shit going on, obviously, but I wanted to make a comment on I just wanted to comment in general. I want to specifically comment in general. A general specificity, if that's okay with you. So, this is how I see this thing moving forward, okay? When we started off, when we birthed into this realm and came into awareness as a child, probably as, 5 years old, 3 years old. Some people remember early as 2. I think my earliest memory that I still have was being a 4-year-old and driving with my uncle on a riding lawnmower. But we started off and the world was big, okay? Huge. Just like incomprehensibly large as a child. And as we grow up, like when I became middle-aged, I guess I'm kind of middle-aged, 35. When I became middle-aged and I went back to the neighborhood that I grew up in, I literally felt like the neighborhood had shrunk by half or shrunk by one full width or something, because all the streets seemed tiny. The even plot of land that it was on, which was like 2 square miles, everything seemed so small. And I don't even think it was just because I physically got bigger, although that had part to do with it. But then growing up, and the same thing with like the power structures that be. So when we were children, the governing body of the school system that we were in was all powerful. They were gods essentially to us. And then as you grow older and things start happening and your cognitive function is improving, you start to realize that there is a different level of power structure that exists within beings. And the one that is handed to certain beings, the ones that are acting as figureheads, bobbleheads, that cognitive function is, or rather that power structure is more of an image. They're acting as a placeholder for the collective mind of the people to sort of operate their daily business around. Like, you wake up, you think, oh, my president's doing this, the vice president's doing that, this policy's happening, such and so on. This is how these things affect me. And they kind of act as a mental placeholder for the structure of your world. But they're big, like the president, just massive. Like, you can't think of like a bigger position that somebody could hold than the president of the United States as a child, right? But then as we start growing up, we start running into some disappointments, yeah? Because, say our father, our earthly father, handler perhaps, or mother, also handler. Anybody can be a handler. Like, there's a high possibility that most family members are handlers in this matrix situation, especially if the way that they behave is erratic and they don't seem to necessarily have your best interest at mind. It can happen. It can be that. But you start seeing that they are not all powerful. Like, your father is not all powerful. Your mother is not all powerful. They're not the fountain of wisdom that they maybe have declared themselves to be since you were a child. And you start to step outside of the perception that these people that are holding positions of so-called power, you start seeing that it's not actually power. You start seeing the actual power network. And the actual power network is seated in nuance. It's seated in nuance. It's not in any loud, like, yelling and it's not loud, okay? It's quiet. The actual power structure. So this is what happens as you grow older. You start seeing you're not so much in awe of the heads of state anymore. And most of us now are not only not in awe of heads of state and governing bodies, we are actively disgusted by those people for the most part. There are some that are sort of tolerable, can stomach a few of them, but not too many. Most of them are taken in some capacity or another. But again, back to the original point I was trying to make. When we were growing up, most of us felt like a sort of an outsider to what was happening in this life and in this world. And what's happening now, as far as I can tell, if you are willing to grab your own power, if you're willing to use your own voice, you are being sucked up into the thing. Like, this thing that's going on here, you're being given the opportunity to participate in another capacity besides just, armchair quarterback, which is what a lot of us have been doing. We know how to do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but we're being given the opportunity to actively participate in what's going on. And the reason I say this at this particular juncture is because that dude, Jake Angeli, he was on Laura Eisenhower, okay? So you find these connections, and Laura Eisenhower, I don't have an opinion necessarily on whether she's one side or the other. I don't think along those lines for the most part, but she's intelligent and well-spoken for the most part. He was on her show. And also, someone just interviewed him in the street with all his regalia on. And I listened to it, and he's intelligent. Like, he knows the things. He's doing his own thing. I'm not sure exactly where his mindset is at, but and I don't know if he is compromised or not. I don't know if he did fall for some sort of a ploy or not for what went down a couple days ago. Or yesterday. I think it was a couple days ago. I don't know all those details, but he's connected to somebody that most of us know, who's Laura Eisenhower, okay? Or we feel like there's some sort of sharing of knowledge. And also, we had we had, what is her name? I forget everyone's name. What is her name? Florida girl that drove out from the East Coast. Jenny, that is her name. Jenny, not Jennifer. Jenny Constantine drove from, I believe, the East Coast. Not the East Coast. Washington, D.C. is on the East Coast. She drove 15 hours to go to this rally thing. And she was very close to everything as it was happening. So we had a bit of a... What I'm saying is, we are moving from being outsiders, kind of witnessing a drama, like sitting in the audience, right? To we're all being given the opportunity to be in the play itself. And we've always been in the play itself, but this thing is going to keep going until we are literally the so-called actors at the center of it, or at the, center side, center peripheral, something like that. And maybe sometimes you don't get a choice, like you gotta play. Maybe that's what it's heading to. Not sure. But the fact that these two people that we know are directly involved with what went down, that's going to start seeding other connections, and the thing is going to involve us directly. I know that's how it's going to work, or rather I feel like that's how it's going to work. I know just with the way I've operated and the connections I've gotten from doing this channel, my vision and my knowledge has broadened as a direct consequence to that, and I assume it will continue to happen. Then we're going to get swept up in the drama that's going on here. So let me know what you think. I gotta go. It's Friday. I'm happy. Let me know what you think about that idea. Let me know if you know that guy Jake personally. And take care. Be safe. Peace.